If you are on the side of YouTube that I'm on, then you have been seeing the winter arc nonstop. All the self-help girlies are obsessed with getting prepared, getting ready, glowing up before 2025. And I'm one of them, okay? I'm here for it. I'm ready to become the best version of me that I can be. As you know, that's what this channel is all about. All of that being said, the whole concept of a winter arc is that you need to glow up the 3 months before January 2025. So it would start in October. But what if I told you that you can glow up, you can be the person you want to be in as little as 1 month? That's right, I feel like I have cracked the code, honestly. But before we get into it, I just want to say, I'm sorry. I know I've been gone for a few weeks. I'm sorry, life kind of got a little bit hectic and I couldn't film as often as I wanted to. Womp womp. But we are back and we are better than ever. So let's get into it. Your well-being is directly tied to your mindset. Your mindset is how you think and how you feel about yourself, which is also known as your self-concept. So like I said, your self-concept is your thoughts and feelings about yourself. A positive example of a self-concept may be, I am productive, whereas a negative self-concept may be, I am lazy. But that is not all. Your self-concept actually encompasses a lot more than just your feelings and thoughts about yourself. Another aspect of self-concept is how you view yourself as a person or your identity. A positive example of this may be, I am a gracious person, whereas a negative self-concept may be, I am a selfish person. And I know this is similar to what we just talked about, your thoughts and feelings about yourself, but let me break it down a little bit. So your thoughts and feelings are about who you are being, whereas your identity is who you are. So they're very similar, but they are different. Usually, if you have a negative self-view, like you view yourself as a bad person, your thoughts and feelings about yourself are going to track with that, and vice versa. The last aspect of self-concept that we are going to dive into is how you think others are perceiving you. This is a big one that honestly I had never really thought about, but now that I am aware of it, I notice it all the time. So when a group of girlies at the club eyes you up and down and they're talking to themselves, what do you think they're saying? Do you think they're saying, that is a bad bitch right there. She's so hot. She looks so good. Or are you thinking that they're judging you? One is a positive self-concept. One is a negative self-concept. Self-concept inadvertently drives behavior. If you have a positive self-concept, it's going to translate into confidence. That being said, if you have a negative self-concept, it's going to translate into cowardice. Bubbles, you keep sneezing. Are you okay? I don't even know if you can hear it. You might not even be able to hear it. Oh, he's interested in the tripod. Am I invading your space? Yeah. Sorry. Your self-concept has been in the making literally since you were born, which is a crazy thing to think about. Babies need a loving relationship with a parental figure in order to develop a positive sense of self and security. And again, that starts at age 0. That starts immediately after you're born. When language begins to develop, toddlers now have a sense of who I am or who me is. This is your very first form of self-concept. When you are aged 3 to 4, you begin to see yourself as a separate entity than others and that you are a unique person. But your self-concept is usually more descriptive based on your physical appearance. So if you ask a 3-year-old, who are you? Okay, they're not going to say, I am magnetic, I am positive, I am beautiful. They're going to say, I have brown hair and blue eyes. At age 5 to 6, humans begin to see themselves as part of a group rather than just an individual, which leads into when you're around 7 to 11, you begin to compare yourself to others. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, even though it can develop into an unhealthy habit, but your sense of self may be influenced by others around you because you're starting to see yourself as a member of a group. From age 12 to 18, there are two central factors that contribute to self-concept. One being success in areas that the adolescent wants success in, which is going to be individualized, it's going to be different for everyone. And the other is approval from significant people in that person's life. So if you are constantly failing at your endeavors from age 12 to 18, you're going to be more likely to develop a negative self-concept than someone who is excelling in the areas that they find important. Same thing with if someone has a parental figure who is constantly down on them, they're going to be more likely to develop a negative self-concept than someone who has parents that are constantly uplifting them. By adulthood, self-concept is fully formed based on your experiences during childhood, but that does not mean it is set in stone. Self-concept is constantly adapting, constantly changing. It is malleable, which is a good thing. That's a great thing. The key to glowing up and becoming the best version of you is changing your self-concept. So how do we do that? I have come up with a 4-step guide to change your self-concept and change your life. The first step is the easiest, but also kind of the hardest, in my opinion. And that is you need to evaluate your current standing. What is your self-concept right now? How do you view yourself? What do you think about yourself? When someone looks at you in the club, what do you think they are thinking about you? You need to observe your thought patterns and feedback loops. What does your negative self-talk sound like? As humans, we tend to have feedback loops. That means we're having the same thoughts over and over and over again. We want to figure out what those negative feedback loops, those negative self-talk feedback loops, goodness, that is a tongue twister, identify them so that we can target them later. The next step is to visualize who you want to be. What I did is I wrote down every characteristic I could think of what the ideal version of me is like. Some of the things I wrote down are confident, patient, magnetic, a people person, compassionate, empathetic, non-judgmental, joyful, grateful, self-motivated, a hard worker, a good listener, and reliable. And this does not just have to be internal factors. You want to ask yourself, how does the new me walk? How does the new me talk? How do they interact with others? How do they present themselves? Step 3 is to counter negative self-talk with affirmations. There is a 3-step method that I have come up with to counter your negative self-talk, and that is to challenge, check, and correct. So for example, if one of your negative feedback loops that you have all the time is I'm ugly, we first want to challenge that thought. So why do I think that I'm ugly? Maybe it's because I think that I'm overweight. Why is that a bad thing? You want to challenge this thought until you get to the root cause. Then you want to check. You want to finish that root cause off with a fact. Being fat is not a bad thing. Then you want to correct with a positive affirmation. I am beautiful and comfortable in my skin. I know this seems like a kind of a long process to do if you have multiple negative feedback loops, and trust me, it does take work, but it's possible. If you are very intentional about this and you sit down and you counter your negative self-talk, it will change. I have been trying to do this for around the last maybe 2 months. And I have seen drastic improvement in the way that I feel about myself, the way that I think about myself. I'm not constantly bagging on myself, and if I am, I catch it. Lastly, you want to reframe the way you interact with the world. You want to view the world from a curious perspective. And what I mean by that is always having a positive outlook on the situation. We all have that one friend who is constantly complaining, and honestly, it's just not that fun to be around, is it? Instead of thinking, I have to do the dishes, reframe it to where you get to do the dishes. Make it a positive thing. If you can shift your mindset from constantly thinking negatively about yourself and about situations to a more positive outlook on yourself and on situations, you will be so much happier. And that is how you truly glow up. Being a positive, radiant person is so much more attractive than being hot. I'm just saying. And this is not just a thing for the girlies. Like, this is for anyone. I feel like sometimes in my videos I say she or her a lot, talking like I'm talking to girls. But really, this is for anyone. This is for my uncle. Shout out Uncle John if you're watching this. This is for my grandpa. This is for anyone. This is for anyone. And I think I will end it there. Thank you so much for tuning in to the 3rd episode of IRLQ. I hope you found something that you resonate with and can implement in the future. I know these 4 steps have honestly done miracles in my life, and I just wanted to share it with y'all. I know the idea of self-concept is kind of a complex one, and doing research, I had to read like multiple papers to really wrap my head around what self-concept was. But there are videos on YouTube that go further into the actual idea of self-concept. I would definitely recommend just looking up self-concept on YouTube. You'll find dozens of videos. But thank you so much for tuning in to the video. Again, I'm sorry that I've been absent for a few weeks, but we are back with weekly videos. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.